Fantastic. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today on the Retail Ad Manager webinar. We're thrilled to have you here. A couple of housekeeping items before we go ahead and get started. As you have questions that pop up as we're going through the webinar, if you can type them into the questions box, and then we will be able to cover those at the end, assuming we have enough time. So for today's agenda, what we'll be covering is how to build those targeted campaign plans by ad type, frequency, region. Also to go ahead and improve the accuracy of your print offers, auto-generate layouts and web pages, and of course automate that print advertising, creating those efficiencies and collaborations. And then of course really diving into the demo and seeing how it all works together within the Censhare platform and the ad manager that's built on top. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Josh Van Dyke. I work with Censhare. I oversee our North American sales team and our solutions consultant team. I am really honored to have Chris Leaman with us today. Chris, actually, I've known for quite some time now. And Chris has been involved with the DAM space for 15 years, has a really intricate knowledge of Censhare, but also of other DAMs. And more importantly, has a really great understanding of retailers, as he actually came from the retail industry previously. So he understands those pain points and also the advantages. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks, Josh. I am Chris Leaman, the Vice President of Solution Architecture at Emmsphere Plus. As Josh mentioned, I have been working within the DAM space for the last 15 years. 9 of those was at Kohl's department stores, working there on their marketing side and also implementing their different DAM solutions. We actually worked to bring in Censhare there, and I was on the team to do that, and then switched over to join an implementer, and have been working with them for like the last 6 years on doing the implementations for all kinds of different clients. Just a little bit about Emmsphere Plus. Since I've joined them, we are a full functioning, full featured implementation, development, training. We offer everything that you need to support your DAM solution. We are a Censhare Platinum partner with over 15 years of experience with Censhare, 18 years in marketing technology, and we are the North American source for the Retail Ad Manager.
Fantastic. And one of the things I love about Emmsphere as a Platinum partner, they really have an understanding of how Censhare really fits into the marketplace, and Censhare's really unique place within the marketplace, because there's a lot of DAM vendors out there, there's a lot of PIM vendors out there, there's a ton of CMS vendors out there, but there's very few that can actually put them all together and solve those really unique content challenges. And as a retailer or manufacturer that's sitting here on this webinar, you understand there's unique content challenges that you're trying to solve and that you're trying to create ROI and efficiencies out of. And really being able to do that within the platform and increase that collaboration. One of the things I think is really neat is within Censhare is you have this way to actually create all of these relationships. Okay, it's actually what I would say context is in our DNA, and what that means is we actually have a graph database that mimics the way the brain works and the way it makes connections. Okay. So you can actually click on an asset. So for example, if we clicked on a Samsung TV in there and we showed the relational view, you can see everything that's related to it. We can see who took the photograph. We can see where this image has been placed online or in social. We can see what magazines or print it's been offered in. We can see product information related to it. And so knowing where your assets are, where your data is at all time is really valuable. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as the webinar goes on. Censhare, as a result, we work with a lot of large enterprise clients. Of course, a lot of retailers, manufacturers, but also a variety of clients. But one of the things that's really interesting about Censhare is we have about a 99% customer retention rate. So once Censhare is really into that organization, there's so many different ways to build on and expand upon it that we really love to continue to work with those customers to find that out. And we're built on the latest technology so that we're always on the cutting edge of how the platform is working. Within the platform, there's basically what we would call a content lifecycle, where you're actually planning and then you're going ahead and create and import. and really go ahead and enrich those assets, enrich those products, and then go ahead and send them through to an approval process, and then export them out to whatever channel is really important to you, and then analyze how those products are doing, how that messaging is coming across. And in the center there is Censhare in the retail ad manager, right? That perfect spot for, you know, all of your content, all of your products, and being able to work those through an approval and see how they're doing. So on that, Chris, I think you want to share a little bit about how this overview of how the retail ad manager works.
Yeah, exactly. And just to touch before we get into the demo, I want to say how Censhare and this life cycle kind of works together when you're building up an ad or a leaflet within the system. You have all these different areas that are working, your photo studio, copywriting, production, planning, and then like a system that can bring in all of your pricing information. So all that comes together that you can work in Censhare, and we can break out those individual pieces into elements that the photo studio and everybody can work on in parallel work streams. So our workflows and having all these elements allows us to work more efficiently and faster within there, so that you can do all of that enrichment along the way. The retail ad manager on top of that takes that planning information and can break it out into individual pieces within those projects. So the retail ad manager knows that we want to plan for 2 different regions, here just an A and a B, and we have these 3 products that are going to go onto this. So the system knows and breaks out and creates the information that we need to. So we have product TR is going to different pricing in A and B, and then we have different products for A and B. Then also the splitting out, which Censhare does, by having their text as separate assets, we have the ability for our copy editor to go in there and notice that the system brought it in as tant green, but we know that that should be tent green. So they can actually work separately and make that update separate from having the production team even knowing that it's happening. This allows you to save on errors, make things work quicker, and then also have people working directly on the items that they want to be working on without having to learn how to go into InDesign and make updates or so on and so forth like that. So with that,
Fantastic.
I think we're going to jump into the demo then.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. Let's show them what it's all about, Chris.
Yep. Just to save some bandwidth, I'm going to turn off my webcam. So sorry for all you people that like looking at me out there. And we're going to hop over now to our system. Here we are. So here's our system. So within Censhare, there's multiple different clients that we have. So we have the web client, which is what we're going to show, but then we have local clients, service clients, render clients, all kinds of different ways to work within the system and to make it most effective to you. The web client is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to log in here. Web client is based off of the latest technologies, as Josh mentioned. So we're using HTML5 with an Angular backend. So it's all very customizable and also very future-proof. So within here, we can see that we have it set up for our Send Now company. So everybody can make this their own feel for the looks, colors, logos. And then we come first to our dashboard. And the dashboard is something that can be set up for individual users, individual user roles, groups, whichever way you need to. And within here, we have widgets. And the way that this is set up, that you can actually make this movable. So a user can also then take these dashboards or these pages and make them customizable to themselves. So it's very flexible and very responsive within the system. We also have the ability to just create assets and run some actions. But the power really behind Censhare, which ties into all of this, is being able to search. If you're not able to search and find things within a system, it's not really very useful to you. But having that graph database, or the proprietary graph database on the back end, makes search not only very fast, but also very reliable. So we can do just like a quick search. So we can just search for image here, for example. And we're going to type in image, and we're going to see that we get a bunch of different items that come in here. So we have all these different images that come in just by doing this for 490. Then we can do some quick filters within here. So we can say like, okay, we want to see items that have been published. We can take a look and see what workflow steps, what kind of categories they're in. And then we also have the ability to even just do a quick filter within here too by just typing in something. Like we're going to type in Samsung. So here quickly, we're going to see our 15 images that are tagged in Samsung, either in the name or with some of the metadata, and we get a visual representation within here. And within here, we have the ability to see this in different ways. First off, we have this gallery view, so you can see different items, and you have the ability to make this flexible and make it larger. So you can see all your previews and really dive into what the images are. You can see this in a list view, which allows you to see some of your metadata along with in here. And then we have like a card view, which is very similar to that column view. But the one that's really interesting is this relation view. And as Josh was talking about before, it's the context that really makes a difference within Censhare. So if we choose one of these TVs here, we can see that this is a media of this item, this product here. If we click on this product, we can then see all the different relations that this product has within the system. So all these different products have meaning. So like we have this TV, maybe if somebody likes this TV, they're gonna want this phone. We can see that Bruce Willis did not like this TV, but Eric Clapton really did. So if you tie this into your website or your CMS, you have that ability to then also get that feedback within the system, along with reviews, also what is it similar to. So all these different relations really allow you to build up different meaning and different context around there. So if you need to take this product and send it out to the website, you can say like, okay, I want this to send out the main relation of video and the main relation of image. So you get that information really quick and easy out to the different areas that you need to. But beyond just doing a quick search like that, we have the ability to do detailed and expert searches. And the expert search is really nice because you can set this up to do something more like on a SQL type thing. So we start first saying like, okay, what do we want to search for? We're going to search for a specific asset type. So we have the ability just to pick any of the features that are in here that are set to be able to be searched. We're going to say equal to product. And then we're going to say we can add more features here, or we have the ability to say like, okay, we want this or not this, and so on. So we can do those, but we also look for relations. So we're going to return all products with a child relation of a video. So we're going to basically find all products within the system that have a video related to it. So if we do a quick search for that, we can see all of our different items here. And I'm just going to change back to the list view here quick. And we can see this. So we choose like this Apple iPhone 7. We're going to see that we have this. If we look at our media, we have all the different images, and we also have videos. So we can also bring in that video and have that related here. So we have all that information directly within the system. And then with that search too, we have the ability to save that search and share that out with anybody within here. We can also turn that into a widget. So you have this. So you can build out these very complex searches, but you can make it very easy to reuse this by saving them and sharing them with others or turning them into a widget on somebody's dashboard.
Yeah, I know search is so important for so many clients, and a lot of clients also ask us, Chris, about is there a way to search for, search for text within, let's say, a PDF or a Word. So not just searching on the keyword or the title or the metadata, but actually what's inside of a document.
Yeah, exactly. One of the great things that within Censhare does is that we have the ability to take certain file types and pull that content off and store that as a searchable text. So we have a content search here within our detailed search. And again, this is something that can be customized to meet the needs that you need here, but we can come in here and just search for solution. And if I can spell better. And then we're going to just add a type of text. So this is going to search for any text asset within our system with the word solution in it. And we can hit search, and we're going to see that we get 40 of them back. And I'm just going to then take a look for letter. In our filter here, we're going to see this gratitude letter. And we can see right now, this is just a Word document that says, thank you for allowing us to present our solution. The nice thing is with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDFs, InDesign files, text files, obviously, XML files, they have the ability Censhare has the ability to scrape off that information and store it as another storage item within the system, which is then fully indexed and allows you to actually search against that and get those results. So you can find things very quickly.
Nice.
One more thing that I would like to touch on before we get into the full demo is a little bit on the PIM capabilities that Censhare has. So along with our UI here on our left hand, we have some quick links that we have. We have the ability to get to my tasks, which I'll cover a little bit later, list of projects, the media in the system, and then also our products. The products and the PIM system within Censhare is very flexible. And we can see here we have 4 main categories that we start off with. First, we have new, which is anytime that we're doing an ingest. For today's purposes, our ingest is going to be based off of an Excel document, but you can be bringing in your ingest by tying it into SAP or any other planning systems that has an API, or even an XML feed that comes in, CSV if you have to. But anything new will come into here that goes into the workflow, which will get enriched and also categorized. We have GPC master data. So this is globally defined product classifications. We also have export. So you can build up these export packages and then send that off as Excel or XML files to syndication or whatever purposes that you need. But within our master category, one of the biggest benefits that Censhare has is the ability to have a flexible metadata schema. And when it comes to products, a flexible metadata schema is very important because when you are across different product lines, you may not need the same metadata on these different items. In these examples, like for banking and insurance, you're gonna have a whole set of different metadata than you're gonna have for technology. But even lesser, like even along furniture lines versus fashion and lifestyle lines, you're gonna have much different information. And in the old ways, you always had the metadata in there, but then you'd have to figure out on your own, do I have to fill this out? Do I not have to fill this out? So this flexible setup that Censhare has is very powerful and very nice for the end users. And we need to dive down. You can have the categories set up as many as you want or as little as you need, and then we can build up and we can see actually our product here. So within this view, you have the quick glance at this, but we can also load up 2 of them at a time, and you have the ability to actually do inline editing with this too. So it's very powerful to start make changes and updates to the products within here if you're using Censhare as your full PIM. We also have the ability to tie this into PIM, external PIMs, and just bring in the products and the structure as necessary, or just the products, because the products are necessary, as I'll talk about in a second, really for our production of our leaflets, the websites, anything that you're really doing. The PIM is a master driver behind that. Within here too, we can get a quick glance at a Kanban board to show where all of our different products are within here. So it's really nice for reporting. You can see like, okay, we have 36 products that need to be enriched. Let's send those off to some people. Or if they're in the approval process, you can actually make adjustments right from here and say, hey, this is ready to use, they're in use. You can also take a look at the quality gates that they have. So you have quality gates that can be set based off of what has been enriched on these products, what is added to these products, so that you can quickly see this information. You don't necessarily have to just have this here. You can set up a dashboard for somebody logging in that is really just important, that is in charge of all the products to make sure that they are getting to the signed off state. They can just log in and say like, hey, why do we have so many that are just classified? Let's get moving on some of this so you get this at a glance. You can tie this into a website or a CMS and get some of your response time. So you can actually see like, okay, what products have been, or what product categories are the best, which products have been seen the most. And then finally, we have a channel report here so you can see where is everything that has been set for their output channel. So where is this ready to be used? Where has it been used? Has this been placed in a layout? Is this ready to go? Which workflow step it is? So very powerful different ways to see this information and have that ability to get it at a glance.
And clients love that. They really, yeah. I think they love having all that information on their products right at their fingertips. So that's great.
Yeah, the ability to see this, to get information quickly is one of the benefits of some of the setups that we have directly within Censhare here. We're gonna open up a product here, and within Censhare, anything can be an asset, which can be kind of confusing, but the nice thing is that Censhare thinks of assets really as containers. You have just the container of the asset, you can have container of the images or the master file that you have, and then that can have metadata, and then you have relations. So this is ability to have anything within the system. And a product really is what we would consider a compound asset. So this asset is made up of its parts really. So you can really see that here by taking a look at this preview. We have this product, we have all these product metadata here, we have the name, pricing, image, and we have all this content here. So these are all built up of multiple different relations and assets within the system to get this one. And you really see this by able to change the language. So we say we have English, let's go to German. So you can see now quickly what the text is that's related to this and what is it for German. We can do this for different looks and everything within here. So it's very powerful to build this up. And this is where the graph database is really important, because all these relations really build the meaning. So not only do we have it set up for the product, we also have product items. So every company is going to do it a little different, but Censhare is flexible enough that you can do this, that you can say like, okay, with this TV, we have 2 different product item groups. We have one that's a black TV at 60 inches, and then we have a silver and a black one that's also there. So you have these different groups where the majority of this metadata is going to be the same, but maybe just the color is different. So then when you have this metadata set once, it can then be inherited down to these other product items so that you have that information, so that you don't have to continuously adding more and redoing and re-entering, rekeying information. Over here at a quick glance are different quality gates that I mentioned earlier. So you can see based on different information that has been added to this, these quality gates are met. So we can see that we have not approved our English text yet, and it's not signed off, so those have not been met yet. Once those are met, then that adds that information and it changes the report up. Along the top, we can see all the different media that we have within here. So we can see that we have a bunch of different images and different relation types within here, which really build up a lot of that context that we have within here. So we have other media, models, video, and so on and so forth within here.
And I noticed, Chris, that you have a lot of different, files that can be stored. I'm curious what actually can be stored, how it can be related. I see you have like a 3D model in there. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, one of the within the newer versions of Censhare, they've added the ability to actually render and see these 3D models within here, which is really great. So you actually see and interact within this. So we can actually see how this has been built. And I'm gonna probably get a little funky with this just because it's difficult with my mouse here. But you can actually take a look and see like, okay, what does this look like without the background, without the grids? What are the pixels that are actually made up here? And you can also reset this. You can also take a different preview. So it's fully functional within here. And I believe there's almost 20 different 3D model objects that they're able to work with now. And overall with Censhare, there's over 300 different asset types that they're able to, that have been defined already with their MIME types. And the majority of those can get previews and you have all the information that you can interact with. But even if you have something that it does not exist in the system yet, it can still end up in the system and be defined to have metadata and all the other information there. You can even have the ability to add a preview to that. So Censhare is very flexible to have that, and some of that is based on the backend information. So when new camera models come out, they may have different raw information that might not be in an older version, but we have the ability to update that and get that into the system so that you can basically store anything in here and relate it so that you can build up that context and use it in other areas, which is very powerful.
Nice.
Here we can see some of the content that we have. So these are the text assets that we have within here. So if we take a look at this, this is using an XML editor within the system. So you can actually see and break out into different areas. So you have the content, the title, the different text. You can break this out then for print, web, email, and all the different areas too, so that you have this product in the system. Your product editors are actually working, your text editors are actually working on this, and they're working and making all this copy within here because it makes it that you can reuse this information then. So one thing that I always like to say, and Censhare likes to say too, is create once, reuse many. And what happens is that you have this product and this TV that's going to be in all these different ads. They're going to be over and over and over, but the information really doesn't change that much, but just this ad specific information changes. So you can put this in here, get this approved, get it through legal, have it all signed off so that it's set and ready to go. That gets your production process faster then. And within the system here, we can see we have all these different translation abilities too. So translation is, again, something that's built into Censhare, but unfortunately that's going to be a different webinar to dive deeply into that. We have the ability to track what are the outputs for this, where are we sending this, where has this been published. Everything can be tracked within within the system here. You can see where is this going? Is this online? Is this not? You have the ability to make this very flexible for here. Every asset has the ability to do communication, so you can send tasks and do information and tasks and just write messages back and forth to see like, hey, why is this say this and or so forth like that, and get that updated. And then every asset has the history track too, so you can see all the different versions within the system, and then even a detailed history too, which is makes it almost impossible for you to not be able to roll back, because you can roll back these different informations and all these, and the versions you can roll these back, and all these abilities are controlled down to the group level, so only the right people can do these different things. So it's a very powerful system to allow you to do all these different things. But that's enough about just the overview of the system. Let's actually dive into creating a new project within here. And since we don't have a system that we're going to tie into, we're going to talk about the Excel file for a second here too. So this is a very basic import that we're going to be bringing in here for our flyer that we're going to be doing. So the first column here, we have product number and product name, sale price, reg price, and then some information about the products that we're going to be placing and using within our system here. So the first thing is this product number will actually search within the system to see, does this product exist? If it exists, hey, we're going to use that then, so we know that we have that information, and we're just going to then take our specific information for this flyer and then create a piece for that. So this information here, the sale price, reg price, the week, year, and region, are all items that are just being used for this piece. And the rest of this is just some information within here. This can be customized and configured to meet the needs depending on how many different columns that you need, but this is just something that's simple that we have within here. So this acts as our ingest. So if we take a look, we're going to upload planning information, and this runs a wizard within the system that allows us to add in items. So this is really kicking off the retail ad manager. So we first choose our distributive channel. If you have multiple different channels that you work with, different agencies or different organizations, you can have this set up here, and this allows you to help drive what kind of layouts are going to be used. So then we're going to do a design page, and we're going to say we have 4 pages. Then we just hit our upload, and then we just need to drag our file in, and we hit OK. And then what this will do is upload, and we hit done, and then this will actually start to take the information here and parse it out into individual pieces. So with all those different columns, we have all this information. So we're going to build our product shell right now, basically. So sorry, our project shell right now. So we have our project, we're going to have some reports, we're going to have our page plan, and we're going to have it set up to be receivable. So we can see that we have our calendar week 11 here. So we dive into here, we can see that there's not much here yet. We have a basic workflow set up, so it's in production, and we have our retail campaign data. So we have the name of it, what type of material is it, the week, the year, and how many pages are there, and is it ready to be called to read the information. Our page plan is empty. Then we have all these reports here, and these reports here are what the retail module is able to do, to retail ad manager is able to do to split out that information to build up our specific layouts. So if we hit retrieve campaign data here, we're going to see an overview that we're going to build 4 pages. We're going to see that these are the different product items that are going to be created for that information. So we'd hit next, and this is going to take a couple of seconds here for this to get done, and then we'll see the result of that.
And what's actually happening on the back end once you hit next there?
So here is where the retail ad manager is taking all those reports and breaking it out into the individual pieces. So within Censhare, you have the ability to just create a layout and work on it. But what this does, and the retail ad manager does on top of Censhare, is it breaks it down into its individual components. So if we take a look, like at page 1 here, we can see this is a national. So all of the products that we had planned for page 1, which is just one product, is for a national ad. So it's going to go to all markets. And then here on page 2, 3, we have this split out between the Northeast and Midwest and the South and the West. So the system knows, based off of the logic of the products that are on there, the retail ad manager knows, okay, what are we going to break this out into our lowest common denominator? So we can see that there is no product that is only going to the South. They're going to both the South and the West. So the system knows how to do that so that you're only creating the products, the layouts that you need to have to be able to create the final output.
All right.
We can see that here within our campaign products here. So what Censhare does, and with the retail ad manager, is that we create what is considered a product output now. And the product output is going to be the specific information for this ad. So when I was talking about those columns in the Excel file, you can see that this is here in these ad properties. And then we have sale price, base price, and the week and the year, and the ad key. The action key is really the glue on the back end of the retail ad manager that ties this together. So the system will know that we want the ad keys to match up on the layouts. So we want to make sure that we have the right information at the right places. And that's how this is able to be done. What we're able to do then is to use a combination of this product output and the product that this is related to. You can see that this is related to that Samsung TV, and then we can build up our layouts with that. So if we go back and actually open up our first page here, we're going to see what has been placed here, where is it planned, and some basic information. But if we go into the editor, this is where it's really cool. Within Censhare on the web client here, we can actually do some design work. We can see that we have a template already designed here, and we can actually just drag our product item over. And what this does is it goes back, and based off of the information on our template here, it knows that it wants to place this image, this pricing, and this information here. And so it will actually do that. And if I hit this refresh button here, what it's actually going to do, you're going to see that pricing information and that text actually get placed within here, which is a very powerful information within here. And then we can also actually save this file. The cool thing with this is what it's actually doing is using an InDesign render on the back end so that this is actually creating this as InDesign. So even though we're in the web client here, it looks like we're not using InDesign. This is a full InDesign page now. So I can actually open up and create a PDF here too. Yes, Josh.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but some people can work within this without having the knowledge of how to use InDesign.
Exactly. And this is the nice thing that we see a lot of people. This allows our designers or designers at your organization to do what they do best, and that's design, and not worry about doing the tedious item of typing in pricing, typing in the product information. That's all done automatically for you, built up off of that design that the designers are working on. And this is just one way that we're able to do that, but you actually see that this is a full PDF that's editable right off of the bat here. So it's using full InDesign and creating this PDF off of settings we have within the system. And you can actually open this up into InDesign using one of the other clients that work directly with that too. So it's very powerful to allow people like merchants to work on their projects, to actually plan their information, put it in here, but they don't have to worry about the design. Or if you have multiple different retail locations, you can have personalized information within here and just have the design still done, saying, here's the product, here's the information that you're going to do, and you can put that information in here. And this is just one way of doing the design work. There's another way is because maybe we don't have a template. So we can actually open up a blank page here, page 2, 3 here, and we have the ability then to actually do the design within here too. There's 2 different ways that we can do this, and we'll do one for page 2, one for page 3. So we actually just drag our product items over, and we actually see, okay, we want to pick this snippet. And these snippets are little pieces of InDesign that are actually built in InDesign that have information that know what we want to have placed in there, and then saved out and brought into the system here, which allows us to do our design work this way. So we can actually pull in all this information and start pulling in our products and choose our snippets as we're on the fly. That's one way to do it. So we're just going to grab these products here real quick, and our ultralight down for the last one. And then we have that page design. But you have the ability to, if you want to give the designers more power over than the layout, they can actually come in here and say, okay, you're going to go and we're going to have this snippet here, this snippet here. So kind of like you're designing a full-on template, you have the ability to do this on the fly too. So that you can just drag in this information individually like this. And then what we can do is then somebody else can come in here and actually place the products within the page as necessary, so that you're filling this all in too. So you have a couple of different ways to actually do all this design. Obviously, you can still do all this within InDesign as well, but this makes it a little bit easier so that you can break this information up. So we can actually see that once this is rendered, we'll have all of our information. And you actually see this gray box here too. I forgot to mention that this is actually just a placeholder within Censhare. So that is an image asset with no image to it. Just has some metadata to say what this is going to be. So while we were talking about those parallel workflows before, this is the way to do that, is that you have a placeholder saying like, hey, we're going to come in here and shoot this sweater jacket hoodie later on, but we don't have it. But that asset can actually get placed. So when it is shot, when it is color corrected, it replaces that, and then it actually updates directly in here so that you don't have to replace that information later on. So it's very powerful to have that information within here. But then also within this, by splitting out these layouts, we can actually save and close this one. So since this was actually written back into the full InDesign, we have within Censhare what is called layout geometry variance. And within here, what we can do is actually just see that we have this little water tower here ready, saying that there is a geometry update available. If we click that button, what this is going to do is take that information from the parent and bring that geometry down to here. And then we have the ability to then place our products that are different for this version and then have that information all done. So between these here, we know that we want to have this board short here, and we're going to go with this popcorn. And then what we can do is that we can render this up, and then now we have the right information. And the power with this, we have the retail ad manager that made these different versions and these different variants within here and have the product set up. But then using just the power within Censhare, you have this tied together. So if you're working on this file again, so you work on the master and you just want to change the layout, you can make those changes and they'll get pushed back down then to the child as well, so that you have that information. So you're tying the look together, but you can have the different information. So that's where you can tie the retail ad manager and then the power of Censhare together, which is really important. So we know that you're not just going to be creating layouts with this. You want to be able to reuse this. And one way to be able to reuse this would be to create other options within here too. So we can quickly come in here, we're going to create a new asset, and we're going to come in from a template. So using templates that were set up within the system already, we have the ability to choose a sign. And we're going to choose this sign that we have within here. And now we want to create this using that TV example that we have here. So we're going to say week 11 cover sign. And we're going to say in the description, we want to say use Samsung TV. And then down here in our workflow area, we're going to assign this to another user. And we're going to assign this to Sean Specialist. So we have the ability to do this, hit OK, and then now we have this asset and it's all set to go. So what we can actually do is then have Sean sign into the system and work on that. So we come in, we take a look, and we're going to log in as Sean, we can see that he has a different dashboard here. So he has a different look because he's more working on just these different items, so he can get quick access to see what he's working on or what are the last things that he worked on. So we're going to go to my tasks, and we're going to see that he has this week 11 cover sign assigned to him now. So you can come in here and start to make changes and go and say, look at the details. You can see like, okay, use the Samsung TV. So he can quickly go and look within our editor here and just do a quick search within here. So he wants to find product outputs because there's nothing assigned to this. So he doesn't have anything that he can just drag and drop automatically. He has to come in here and find it. But since he knows he needs to find the Samsung TV, we can do a quick search here, but this is using that full search capabilities that we were talking about earlier, right directly within this widget. And we're going to see that we have this. We know this is for week 11. We can then go ahead and grab this week 11 and pull this information over. We have the ability then just to update this and see all the information, and the product items, product information actually get dropped directly into here. So we now have this sign delivered. We can, created. We can save this, and we can go back over to our overview, change this and say, okay, we need to get this approved. So we need to edit properties. And we're going to send this, and instead of having it assigned to me, we're going to assign it back to Liz. So she'll see it as her items to then go through the approval process within here. So that's one way that we can see these different outputs.
And once this is created and approved, what output channels can this go out to, Chris?
Really, that's another strength that Censhare has, is that you can use pretty much anything for an output channel that you can connect to. Obviously, here we're showing different print. So you have in-store signage, you can do direct mail, you can do the flyers and the leaflets. Beyond print, you have the ability to tie into email systems, CMS, or headless CMS. You can pull those different in. One example that I have to show you, that I can show you here, is pushing this information out to like a pricing area. So we can log in and just say like, hey, we're going to choose our Hamburg flagship store and get the offers from calendar week 11. So right away, we're able to see that information. So this is pulling directly from within Censhare all their different offers that we have for this store. So not only are they getting only the offers that they're going to get like in that flyer, because we have the retail ad manager on the back end that says where this information goes, they're getting the right information right away out of Censhare. So if there's ever an update, it's going to come through to that too. So that's one of the nice things too, as I was saying before, with the create once, reuse many, that's where you get a lot of the benefits from these different items. And obviously there's going to be updates throughout the way. So how do we have an update within the system here? Let's take a look at our plan here again. So if we look at our page plan here, just to get an overview of what we have all these different versions. It says that we have 20 different pages, but really we only have 4. But the Censhare system knows that we have to break this information up between these different areas so you can see these different regions. The regions within Censhare and the retail ad manager are flexible, so you can see this different information. So you can see that these pages are using the Northeast and Midwest, but then down here we go to the South and West. You have the ability to export these out. So if you're doing book reviews or anything like that, you could do that at any time. But if we look here, we can see that we have like a €39.99 Euro TV here, which seems kind of low. So maybe there's a pricing problem that we had. So a lot of our customers are working with this by updating that information, their planning information at the last minute. So what we can do is we can upload and update then. So if you're doing something with a pricing system, we would have just a button that you can really do to bring in this information at the last second or whenever along the way that you need to have this update. So within here, we're going to bring in this update. This again is an Excel file that just has some different pricing information within it. You can also change out products and planning information at any time along this by doing this process. So we're going to pull this information in, and we're going to then see that we have another campaign available. So if we go back into our calendar week 11, we have the retrieved campaign data. So when we do this, we take a look, and we're going to see from that information, all these ones in blue have an update. So you can see update sale price $39.99 to $699.99, and then the update the regular price from $65.99 to $1,000. So we're able to pull this information in and do this. And that's what the retail ad manager does to pull this in. But again, using that tie into an InDesign renderer with the Censhare system, we're actually able to make those updates on the fly now. So we have that choice. We have our system set up to do that and automatically make these updates. So what we're actually doing here is pulling in this information right now. So it's updating this, creating the updated product outputs, and then also updating all of our InDesign layouts all at the same time. So we can see that this is successful. So if we go look at page 1 here now, we can see that this now has from $66.99.99, and then we have our regular price down there too. If we take a look at our history, we can see that we have our 2 different versions within here, which is really nice. And if we take a look at my work and our week 11 cover, that's automatically been updated. And then once more, to show you the power of having this for the different output channels, we have to just refresh this and take a look at week 11. We now have the same pricing information across everything, and no designer, no person had to go and make that update. We pulled that in from another system, which is where you really get the power with all of this.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, as much as I'd love to get away with getting a TV for $39.99, I'm sure it's helpful for retailers to not make those costly or embarrassing mistakes.
Yeah, having that information up to date is always really helpful.
Fantastic. Well, Chris, this was a lot of information to take in, but it was really, really great.
Thank you.
We have a couple of questions that have come in through our question box. So let's dive into those. So first off, what kind of efficiencies have you seen with the Retail Ad Manager? So I know this has been installed with several different clients, so maybe you could elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah, and it always comes down really to that bottom line. And it depends, obviously, I have to throw a caveat out first, depends on some of your workflows, but we have seen usually on average 30 to 50% faster to market. So the ability to cut down some of those review steps, some of those manual processes really is able to get that out. We took one process down that from 19 weeks down to 6. So you have that ability to make up that time within there. You have to trust what's within there, and that's always the hardest part. No matter what, we always see at least a 90% reduction in errors. The system can't be responsible for what comes into it, but if you eliminate the ability to have somebody mistype something, that's always gonna be something better. And either a reduction or a movement in headcount is something that's always there too. So you don't necessarily need as many production designers anymore to be doing all this work, but maybe they can be set up for doing some more of the upfront work or some of the other items that are within there too. So those are some of the things that are the efficiencies that we've seen across the board where we have this installed.
Sure. Reallocation of resources is always helpful. Fantastic. We have one other question in here. So it says, you mentioned that you're using templates. We work with a very free form layouts. How can we utilize the Retail Ad Manager?
Yeah, I know one of the concerns that graphic designers always have is the word template or templatized, but we're using that as a starting point. And it's also one that can be just designed templates. So there's multiple different ways to work within the system. We have the way here that you're able to see the different information, pull it in, manually create these different layouts within the system here. Or you could take this and output this directly in InDesign and have that. So we have the ability to be freeform. Or somebody can start this way as the first layout. We have a client that was doing this so they can get like a scatter board of what their offers are, and then they want to be able to do the design after that. So since this is actually placing directly within InDesign, we can do a quick template, have this, and then the designers have free form to do all their movement and everything and their design afterwards. So it just makes it a lot easier that way still. So templates could be a bad word, but it really helps to get some of these items started and really can save time.
Sure, so people can go in, they can collaborate together, they can work on this, and then if someone wants to make it a little prettier, there's another person that can go ahead and do that as everyone's collaborating.
Exactly. It takes some of the mundane tasks away by having these templates, or even just using the snippets to tie into like, what's the price, what's the text, what's the image, so people don't have to go out there and search for that within the system. Using the PIM and the Retail Ad Manager, you can pull all that together, and then just by dragging and dropping, you have that within your InDesign layout.
Very nice, very nice. Well, fantastic. We don't have any other questions in here. So on that note, I'll say thank you so much. If you are interested in learning more about this, or you have if you have somebody that you think would be of value to take a look at this, please feel to reach out to us, as well as we'll provide you with a recording of this. So if you have colleagues or either people at different companies that you think could benefit from this, feel free to pass that along to them. On that note, we'll give everyone a few more minutes back in their day, and I want to thank everyone again, and also, of course, thank Chris Leaman for sharing that knowledge with us.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.